All right. This is hopefully part 2 of episode 551. If you are listening to just the audio, I hopefully have seamlessly connected the two. If you're watching on YouTube, there's going to be 2 videos because I don't know how to stitch videos together, / don't have the software for it. So sorry about that. But you were about to read a question from Mrs. Beth.
So you didn't record me reading it at all?
No, what happened was I talked about Twitter and then I said, sorry, go ahead. And by that point, you, who had just been sitting there stone-faced while I talked about Twitter, appeared to continue to sit there stone-faced. And I assumed it was a connection issue. And then I saw the Zoom say connecting, and I was like, oh, crap. And then it all died.
I shall read it again.
All right.
Dear TMTH, I have just learned that the group noun for engineers is a sprocket. What are your favorite generally accepted group nouns, and what groups are in need of a well-crafted TMTH group noun? Beth, P.S. Some group nouns to get you started, and she has a link to a website that lists, I guess.
I do love collective nouns. Even more so than a lot of language, though, they do seem to be made up in that, like, somebody just, like, especially this one, assuming this is accurate, a sprocket of engineers, like, one person with a very loud voice decided that and made that happen. Like, that's not, I mean, and I guess they all, and again, I guess all of language is sort of like that, but like that one feels very artificial to me. What are some of your favorites? I do really like the collective noun game. Murder of Crows is always good. An unkindness of ravens, I believe. That one's been fun. I knew a book, like a kid's book, I think called A Cache of Jewels, that was about a bunch of collective nouns. I remember some book they made me read in school had a section where somebody explained to somebody else that the collective noun for girls was a gaggle of girls, which is the same one used for geese. And for boys, it was a blush of boys, which is weird.
Yeah. I don't, I'm kind of looking at the list from the website she sent.
Yeah.
Some of them are obvious, like a group of athletes is a team, for example.
There you go.
A group of churchgoers is a congregation and that kind of thing. But, some of these are like a group of bakers is a tabernacle.
Huh.
Does that one make sense to you?
No.
See what else? Feast of Brewers.
A feast.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
I think I knew this one. A College of Cardinals. I think I knew that.
I think I also knew that. But that is referring to the clerical position, not the bird, correct?
Correct.
School of fish, flock of birds, herd of wildebeest.
An
a lot of
alley
things that herd.
An alley of clowns.
I mean, dibs on that for both a band name and a movie title.
Comedians, they have two. A gaggle of comedians or a riot of comedians.
You
ever heard that before?
I have not.
But I mean, I don't
group.
I don't know Again, some of these are pretty straightforward, but the rest of them you're like, I mean, a group of dermatologists is called a rash.
See, this exactly like
Rash of dermatologists. I just
those are the
really,
ones. Those are the ones where you're like, says who? But the problem is, the issue is not saying that with those. The issue is you should also say that with the earlier ones. It's a pride of Lions. Says who? Like, why is it that? And unkindness. Now, there's some bird that's a parliament.
yeah, I've heard of that. I don't know.
Parliament of something. Or is that cats? I know that is a thing. That was an issue of Sandman, was called the Parliament of Cats. Oh, speaking of, so have you seen the trailer for the Sandman TV show? You should watch it. It's a very minimal teaser, but it's very cool. I've been listening to the audiobook, which I talked about before. I am just over 2/3 of the way through it. And I think I've decided to stop. It is a brilliant adaptation. It is an incredibly faithful one. Like, straight up, I think it's just what's in the comics. And in some places, they have to describe things that you'd see in picture. And a lot of narrative stuff is just literally narrated by Neil Gaiman himself. But it's a pretty one-for-one adaptation. It is well acted. The production values, the music, all incredible. The Foley work, spot on. Two things. One, I don't know. This happens a lot. The written word doesn't always translate to the spoken word well. And I think this happens a lot in comics specifically. Things that you read on a page in a comic book make sense. And then when you hear someone say them out loud, you're like, that sounds fucking dumb. And I think to a lesser extent, you can get that in books as well.
Yeah, comic books are definitely like
Yeah.
that for sure.
And there's sort of a famous thing that, like, the dialogue in books isn't technically how people speak in the real world, kind of thing. And some way with movies too. And I think there's some of that, but the bigger one is, and I should say I'm gonna watch the TV show. Definitely gonna watch the TV show. Even if it's not good, I feel like I have to. Like, people have been trying for so long, I have to see how it goes. And I think they are updating the TV show. The book, again, the audiobook is just the comics. It takes place in the 80s and that whole thing. I don't think there's anything left for me to get out of Sandman. It is 40 years old. It was very progressive and subversive for the time. A lot of that doesn't work now. A lot of stuff feels very reactionary and backwards for 40 years later. It's also very dark for dark's sake. Fucking Frank Miller. Everybody's being raped. Children are being abused. Folks are being chained to radiators in basements, and just awfulness. Just a lot of it. And some of it I remember being disturbing at the time. There are sections of Sandman that I remember a particular issue was hard to read for me. But now I'm just like, why? Why am I even reading this? I'm not enjoying that. So I think I'm going to be done. And it's sad because I got some big old leather-bound books. I think I might be done with original Sandman, which I still love it. It still did a lot for me. It has still been a really wonderful creative tool, and it was a wonderful experience of art, and it made me think about a lot of things, and it was wonderful. I think I have sort of aged out of it / the world as I know it has aged out of it. It does sound like the TV show is set in modern era, and that will hopefully help, but we'll see. But that was a weird and kind of sad realization, which I got there from Parliament of Cats, which is a thing there. All right, I don't. Collective nouns are cool. What is the collective noun for collection of nouns?
A collection of nouns.
Yeah. Your everybody's homework who's listening, get high and then think about that. Ooh. Because it's only interesting if you're high, otherwise it's meaningless bullshit. All right. Next one.
Some of these are disturbing. Anyhow, you want to go on to the next one.
I got one here.
Maybe we should.
This is from Azure Talon. Oh, this is gonna be tough. You're both characters in a tokusatsu. What weapons do you wield based entirely on your preference, and what is cool enough to sell merch? Bonus points if you can tell me what kind of theme your show has and how that skins your weapons. Azure Talon, who owns an entire collection of figures armed and armored with fruit. Well, I mean, first big mistake here, assuming people know what a tokusatsu is.
Yep.
I know the term from some Toy Galaxy episodes. I could name things that definitely are tokusatsu. I do not think I could explain to you the overarching thing that makes it tokusatsu. I know that it's basically Japanese superhero stuff to a large degree. Power Rangers, all the Power Rangers knockoffs. I think kaiju shit fits into there, but I don't know for sure. I think it's all the things where you have weird outfits that involve a lot of PVC and may or may not turn into robots. I mean, I have never in the entire run of this podcast ever had such just an aching certainty that we are not going to do this question any justice. Like I hesitate to try, but I feel like we owe it to him, so we should try.
Okay.
I mean, I mean, gun swords are fun. Those are always neat. Where you're like, it's a sword, but it also shoots. I like those. And then you can make them like stupidly big. That's always fun. I don't really care for the the cute the magical girl accessories. I don't want it to be like a fan or a mirror or a charm bracelet or whatever. I also don't want to go full military. I don't just want guns. Like I think I want a thing that flies. Actually, robot companion would be like that. Like I have like a robot bird, and then like when I play a tune on my sword gun that is also a flute.
Okay.
The bird transforms into basically nothing, but then a giant robot comes out of the ground, and it hooks to it, and so it's a better robot, and then I jump into it, and but
Robot
it's
comes out of the ground.
but it's one of those weird ones because like the bird is normal bird size, like it can land on my shoulder, but when it like transforms, it hooks to a giant robot that like if it was actually to scale, like the bird parts would just be these little dots, like 4 dots somewhere on it, but like it's big, huge. So that like it gets bigger somehow when that happens due to the overwhelming theta force built inside my chi, thanks to this amulet that I found at a flea market. Do they have those in Japan? Whatever the Japanese version of flea market is, found this amulet. It has theta energy in my chi, and it lets me have big robot bird or little robot bird that turns big so I can be in a giant thing, and a gun sword flute. So gun sword flute. Your turn.
So I guess I would wield what do they call those? There's a name for them. It's a martial art where you're wielding essentially sickles. They're two. I mean, that's what they are. They're for harvesting. They're Japanese sickles. It's a handle with a blade that almost looks like a scythe blade, but it's small, and you wield two of them. And there's a martial art
I
associated.
don't know that one. There's tonfas, but those don't have blades on them.
Yeah,
Tonfas are basically nightsticks.
What they're called?
I don't know.
Sickles, really.
All right.
But anyway, I would wield those. Seems like there should be more because, like, you know, you were saying with all the robot and the sword gun flute, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, and I do have like spandex related and PVC like superhero outfit that leaves nothing to the imagination, but I also wear one of the giant flowing trench coats, and I have messed up hair and always have a cigarette hanging out of my mouth so everybody knows I'm cool. So that's important.
Does there have to be spandex, or could I have like
no.
robes
There's armor and shit. There's all sorts of ones.
but not robes?
I'm going with that.
Not a robe
Yeah,
type
I
thing?
think you could do robes. I think you could do. It would still probably have a lot of PVC piping on it for decoration, but
Yeah,
I think
sure.
they'd be like big, oversized.
Yeah, with a hood that you can barely see my face
Yeah,
in. And
but like even like the shoulder would be like way bigger than your shoulder should be.
Yeah,
You'd
right,
be like,
right.
there's either a lot of padding in there or it's like just empty. It's like, well, I don't know what. Like, yeah, it would have to look too like there's too much material, too much mass to the robes.
Right. And these weapons, even though they're based on a real thing, they would look strange somehow, right? They'd be
Yeah.
oversized, or in one scene they'd look this way, but in another scene they'd look completely different.
Well, I mean, that's just that's when you're splicing that, especially in the American version, because they took you from multiple series and sort of stitched them together. Right. You were actually two different actors.
And whenever they come out, they always make that ching chong sound.
No,
bringing them out. Ching 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 ching.
Wait. Okay, I'm gonna stop you there.
Every time I bring it out.
No,
I don't even have to do anything. I just have to pull it out, and it makes it nice.
Please stop. You're gonna make it worse. They make a shing sound with a sh sound at the front. They can make ching when they clash against something, but they cannot, and I cannot stress this enough, make the first thing you said, which is ching chong. They definitely cannot make that sound.
Yeah.
You have not made it big enough to be canceled, but you will be canceled real fast if your weapons go ching chong. Sorry, if your Asian inspired weapons go ching chong.
Okay. I don't get it, but that's fine.
Do you not? Ching chong is the most reductivist, racist version of somebody claiming to be speaking the Chinese language.
Oh, like when they're impersonating it?
Exactly. Or when they're
Oh.
saying a Chinese name, they will refer to a Chinese person as just ching chong.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, that phrase together is one of the great winners for racism against Chinese people. And this is Japanese, but it's still not a good idea. But I like shing with the shing.
Yeah, it always makes a noise. I don't have to do
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
They don't have to touch each other. They just have to be on the screen.
And the light, the light, there's
Glints
a light
off of
burst
it.
off of yeah. Glint. That was the yeah. You got to have something big though. If we're in this together, you also have to get larger in some fashion.
Okay, so
via some sort of robot or just growing big yourself.
So from maybe I can summon a mech from another dimension.
Yeah. Always good. Always good.
Yeah. I'll
And
summon a
way
mech
less
from another
property
dimension.
damage than mine. I mean, mine literally splits the earth open every time.
Sure.
And we don't see buildings nearby it, but you got to figure it's fucking up something.
Oh, sure. Right.
Especially
No,
because it
mine's-
moves with me. The fight's not always in the same neighborhood, you know? Like, so I mean, I just got to be destroying property values left and right.
Well, I'm not saying my mech is very polite about where it shows up. I'm just saying it comes from another dimension, and it suddenly takes up space where there was nothing. Well, where it wasn't before. There might have been something there. Maybe
That
it
is a-
explodes a whole
that is a
building. I
problem.
don't know.
I
don't
that's
know.
rough too. Yeah.
And if it wants to, it can manifest in this dimension around me, so I don't have to jump in it. I just am already in it.
Okay. I think I like this. I think this ties in well with the extra bit, which was the themes, because for us in particular, I think the show should be about the importance of grammar and syntax and proper word choice and sentence structure, and just the importance of good use of language. And this is emphasized by the fact that at no point do we actually give much consideration to property damage or lives lost, because that is not, we are a specific sort of hero. And it's not that we don't care, but that the other heroes handle that. We stay in our lane, which is proper language use.
Also, we can't have racist sound effects. We can't.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
We're gonna make this a plot point. It's in the little intro song about how we can't have racist sound effects.
No racist sound effects.
Yes.
Gotta adjust there to make sure that doesn't happen. Good.
Oh, I was really excited about this email at first because I thought it might be about tonkatsu, which is tasty, but it's about tokusatsu, which is another thing. I would have loved to talk about my TV show involving a breaded pork cutlet. No such luck.
Sorry.
I think we did pretty well with this, honestly.
Oh,
I'm
good.
okay. All right. Whose turn is it? I read that, so it's your turn.
Let's see. I gotta go back to.
What are the themes of your fruit people, Azure Talon? Is it nutrition heroes? What's good with fruit soldiers?
This is from Beth.
Oh, Beth making headway, kicking butt.
See, a comment in response to the discussion a few months ago about pink lemonade.
All right.
We have a bottle of Simply Lemonade in our fridge that is pink in color. I noticed the label on the back says lemonade with strawberry juice. parenthetically, she says, I did later notice that the label on the front has a picture of both a lemon and a strawberry. I suspect this is how pink lemonade got its start in simpler times, and the addition of strawberry is what causes it to be sweeter than regular lemonade.
Now this
Our-
is, oh, I'm sorry.
And she
Go
said,
ahead.
are clarifications, subsequent research supposed to be shared via emails to the hat? Or should I have posted this on the blog, Beth? Or
I
so a
absolutely,
procedural question. Procedural
I
question.
absolutely think you should have posted this on the blog, because then it can be with the references, because this one is very clear, but we get a lot of questions that are like back in da 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 da, and we didn't even get to it till later and things like that. So I think there's a danger by writing the hat directly. I think going to the blog is more effective. Would you concur, or what do you think?
I don't know.
I mean, it's
could-
gonna sort of work either way. I personally feel like it's more effective if you go to the blog.
I mean, that makes sense. What you're saying makes perfect sense. Yeah.
I suppose there is an argument that not everyone who listens to the hat reads the blog, so you theoretically have a broader range. I don't think there are people who read the blog and don't listen to the hat, although it's definitely possible. You got some weirdos out there. So there is that impact, but I think for clarity and promptness and a lot of things, I think it's better to go to the blog. But you get to pick. That's the magic of the old talking hat. Regarding the pink lemonade note, this is interesting because, as is very common in my life and in my marriage, I'm very curious about something, but cannot be arsed to do any research on it. But I mention it around my wife, and it digs in and burrows its way into her brain, and she's like, God damn it. And she goes and researches it. And this happened with the pink lemonade thing.
Oh, okay.
And it was a complicated thing. I will try and summarize best I can. At its heart, there is zero difference but color at the original thing. The absolute bullshit sort of urban legend history, because it goes back a long time, like hundreds and hundreds of years, involves some silly stories that basically imply it was pink because it had blood in it. But there is no evidence that that ever actually happened.
Okay.
There's just some stories about its origin that tie into that. I have, from what I have seen, I think a lot of places do add things to it now. But I think that's dumb, because we don't know what it is if it's just pink. And a lot of them, if they are adding strawberry, it's called like strawberry lemonade. So that's what you know, and things like that. But apparently in its, so I think this is a thing that has morphed over time. But apparently in its original form, it is the same thing, but for a difference in color. And there was facetious stories about it. I forget, I don't know all the details, but it's stories where basically blood ends up in lemonade and then it turns pink, but not a real thing. So
Did they make it pink originally?
oh, crushed up bugs, that's how they usually make things pink. Maybe they did use, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of coloring options.
Why?
Oh, why? Oh,
Yeah.
blood.
Someone just decided it would look good pink or something.
Spilled something in it. I don't know. This is a good thing. If we assume, as I do, that the first pink lemonade was not blood, what was it and why was it? I'm guessing that sometime in the Dark Ages, during like probably the 4th or 5th annual Susan G. Komen Foundation Race for the Cure, somebody was like, you know what would really perk up this breast cancer awareness 5K? Let's turn the lemonade pink like everything else we have here. And they did. And that probably happened in about 11:33, I'm gonna guess. Come on, that's funny.
Beet juice, maybe.
What are you, Dwight Schrute?
Beet juice.
What color are sugar beets?
And they're red, aren't they?
Are they red? I thought maybe they were yellow. Addie knows.
Red. I think they're red.
All
But
right,
I
well,
mean,
I could do it.
how would you make? Is it pink? Are you so? Because everything you're saying so far makes it sound like the way to make lemonade pink is to put red in it, but just not very much, and it'll look pink. I mean,
Yeah.
do you think that's right? That
Oh, as opposed to it like turning orange.
yeah, or something like that. Yeah, orange or
Well,
still a red, but
it,
not pink.
except, have you ever made lemonade from scratch?
Yeah, I have.
It's not very yellow.
No, it's kind of a cloudy. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But you are right. I don't know why it wouldn't be more orangey than pink. I don't know. The problem is, this was a long time ago that my wife told me what she found on research, and I'm just remembering third hand. So,
Okay.
if you want, I mean, this is your chance, everybody who's not me. Research it, pink lemonade, and tell us about it on the blog. I am absolutely willing to consider the possibility that my wife actively lied to me about it. I am not willing to consider the possibility that I am misremembering. I am less willing, though still willing, to consider that she got the stuff wrong. But I think more likely she lied than maybe she is confused, but definitely not that I am misremembering. So
It certainly makes sense. I mean, what Beth is saying, that it started as a flavor combination, because that would, flavor combinations are a thing people do.
and sometimes they get special names.
Yeah. But it's hard to understand why someone would go, I don't want the flavor of this to change. I just want the color of it. I mean, well, no, I mean, I guess that makes sense. I mean, that's people have been doing that too, trying to make something a certain color different than what it is. But without changing the flavor, I guess that is a thing. Pink.
I'm still going with 12th century Susan G. Komen Rice for the Cure 5K. But so until we get a more definitive answer, that is going to be what it was. So yeah, listen again next week, when I will be connecting from a really fancy house that is just gonna be me and Trish. It's really big. It sleeps like 10, and it's just gonna be the two of us. It has 3 sleigh beds. I don't even know why that's like that. Sleigh beds are special things. You don't need that many of those. And it has a bunch of other beds too. And little nooks. I will probably take the laptop and the camera around and give you a guided tour of it. We'll have to see. I will have been there for like 3 days by that point. Anyway, that'll happen. And then possibly by that point the cow that is pumping William's blood will have grown enough that it'll have horns coming out the front.
They said no. They said it's not going to happen.
Shit, why'd you even get this? I mean, what was even the point if you're not going to get udders, horns, nothing? I haven't heard you moo once.
They said if it hasn't started by now, it's not going to.
This is the trouble with Western medicine. No udders and horns. All right.
Tail. I thought I was at least going to get a tail out of it.
Oh, right.
I mean,
right.
how nice there's lots of times I can't reach something back there. It'd be nice just to
Swatting flies.
swat and
Yeah,
swat.
no,
Yeah.
it's absolutely, absolutely. I really thought that, like, they clearly did. Check your informed consent form. I'm not sure you read it well enough.
Yeah.
This sounds ridiculous.
You're right. I should look it over, maybe get a lawyer or
Yeah.
something.
Absolutely. I mean, at this point, they might have just stuck a hamburger in your chest and then been like, "That's fine."
Hard to say.
Yeah. Yeah. So tune in next week for that. And in the meantime, still buy my book. It's still called Odd Wings, and it's still on Smashwords. I assume it's sold thousands of copies by now, but go find out and buy your own copy. And then listen next week. And bug spray.